Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to this week's episode of Project Cast. My name is Matthew Terry, founder and CEO of Suede. And as you all know, this is Ryan, founder and CEO of the H2H Method.
Yes, sir. I got a question for you.
Hit me.
When you first came to me, I learned that you were a software developer and specifically an AI software developer. I have some semblance of what a software developer is. Once you get to AI, things get a little vague and cloudy. I don't know how you do it. But, let's start with some basic questions around you coming to me about a script writing software. And I thought that was crazy that that was possible and especially adding AI in. So let's start with a basic question here that is, you're a software developer. There's software development around websites and applications that people can use and order their next Chick-fil-A or whatever to their door. How does that differ from a script writing software that enables the program to write a script for a salesperson?
That's a good question. When it comes to software development, we're all using the same foundation,
Okay.
code and languages and things of that sort. Now, there are different components you can put on that foundation to make different applications. So for a food delivery app, you're really only dealing with a database, maybe some real-time sequencing and the front-end application. But for this script writing tool, you're dealing with a bit more complicated components that have to deal with artificial intelligence. You're dealing with LLMs. You're dealing with something called embeddings, and you're dealing with some of the more basic components of user experience and database and that sort. So really the biggest difference is the artificial intelligence components that are involved within Suede script writing.
We have this H2H method as a foundation.
Mm-hmm.
How does the method change the way that AI, scripting AI, would impact the way something's written? Right? Because it seems like, okay, you go to ChatGPT and say, write a script. Well, how would that be different? Or you just have a script writing software that might just be like, hey, we're going to present this in a format that's cool for you. And that's the point. So you're kind of mixing those two things, right? How do you take it from just a traditional base software program to one that's suggesting AI and then adding in a foundation with a method? That seems like a lot of moving pieces.
It's definitely a lot of moving pieces. Luckily, there's frameworks and best practices around how to create the user experience portion of it. But when it comes to the artificial intelligence, you really have to be a bit more nuanced. And I want to talk real quickly just around how LLMs work and how LLMs are created. How do you actually generate text?
Yeah.
So let's say I went to Wikipedia and downloaded all the text from Wikipedia. To create a generative model, I can basically use something called a transformer, which just think is a little mini baby, and train that baby around how to come up with sentences. And I'm
Yeah.
basically saying, hey, look at the first letter and look at the second letter and try and predict the third letter based off of all the text that I just fed you. And it's going to go through and take a look at the different probabilities. And that's how you get these large language models, is you just feed it different language. So if you go to
Mhm.
ChatGPT right now and you say, hey, write me a sales script that sells solar panels, it's just going to generate you some text in which it believes is correct, and it's going to be long-winded, it's going to be full of adjectives, it's not going to be
Mm.
something that is usable. What we're doing is we're putting constraints around that. We're saying, hey, generate a cold call script within the H2H framework, which says your first opening pitch can only be two sentences, which
Mm.
says there's no adjectives, you can only have adverbs, which says XYZ.
Okay. Okay. So first question is this Transformer Autobot or Decepticon?
So it's a little bit of a Decepticon.
Okay. Oh
I love
wow.
it.
Wasn't
I
expecting
love it.
that. Second question is how does that baby Transformer learn? Right? Like what's best to say and what's not. Like what if you got into bad habits as a salesperson, right? Like how would the AI know to steer you away versus steer you towards certain language? Is that where the constraints come in with using a method and say, hey, you can't be saying that as much because this is what, the method is based from? Or is there some other type of influence that it has to help keep it going a good direction?
We have soft constraints and hard constraints. A hard constraint is the word count
Yeah.
within the text. So you can't go and write a 4 sentence long opening pitch. It's going to
Hmm.
start yelling at you. That's bad sales etiquette. And then there are more soft constraints, like the how many features and benefits you have within your sales script.
Okay.
And within that, that's a little bit more ambiguous and there's a little bit more wiggle room. So
Yeah.
it's not this magic human that's in
Right.
your computer that's looking at all of your texts. It's more a set of rules that are
Mm.
either hard constraints and soft constraints.
So I think that's helpful in understanding because it takes some of the magic and kind of stigma around AI out of it. That it's really just how we feed it. The more and better that we feed that information or the AI, the more it has to pull from. And like you said, you use 300 of our scripts from Superhuman that were successful for helping understand some of these constraints or how to make even suggestions to begin with to get you
Exactly.
on the right foot and then stay within these constraints. That is, I think, something special about this project we have going on. I mean, you're taking a software plus an AI engine and based in a method so that you're not just getting some arbitrary, I guess, hallucination about what something should be. It's going off and becoming its own thing. You're giving it these restraints so it can produce something for you that's useful because of that. Would you say that's fair? Like that's maybe the special part about this is you're adding software to AI with that foundation to give
Mhm.
it a bit more practical use immediately.
Yeah, there are two things that make our relationship really special. The first is the hard constraints of the H2H method and just the rules like we just talked about. Your opening statement can't be more than two sentences in a cold call. So those rules in that book, the Trust Call, are really important to feed the AI. And then the second powerful thing is the amount of successful scripts you guys have in a database. Like over 300 successful scripts that I was actually able to train the
Mm.
generative model to output even better language for anybody's company.
So we're just starting this out. Where do you see the scripting software with AI engine capacity moving? Where do you see the future of AI script writing going in the next 5 years? What do you think it'll be able to do versus what it can do now?
I have high hopes, high ambitions. One of the things that we talk about a lot are how buzzwords and words that kill the vibe evolve over time. One thing that makes Suede special is we're also listening to conversations and dissecting real live cold call conversations. And
Mm-hmm.
I hope to get to a point where we have a living database of best practices around how to open up a call, words to stay away from, buzzwords that really get people talking, and just a best practice database around how to
Right.
talk to a CEO, right?
Getting more feedback and learning from that feedback and having it be a part of the system later so that we don't forget it. So by the time it's being suggested the best script for you, it's not just based on, some anecdotal evidence or inclinations. It's based on hundreds or thousands of millions of data points that feed that. Last thing here, something that you said that was really interesting was all about that feeding the AI. The more that you feed the AI, the better information it has to pull from. And so this baby is turning into a toddler and an adult, which essentially should be able to emulate and replicate what's been successful and even help you get a faster start in the future.
Exactly. And it's only as good as the data you feed it. It's not magically going to get better than the data you feed it, which is why the database of sales scripts that you guys have is key. So
Love it.
yeah,
Well, good
awesome.
stuff. That's all
Hmm.
I got. If you're out there looking for how to write your scripts better, this is the newest, most innovative way to write your scripts because you give us the information around your business, your value prop, and it spits out a script for you utilizing guardrails within the H2H method. Never been seen before. It can't be used on ChatGPT. So check it out, Suede AI Coach, along with the other suite of services there, and reach out to us. We're happy to talk sales shop.
Yeah, awesome. Till next time, y'all. Have a good one.
Peace.